Well, hi Steve. 5 days ago you were standing on this stage before a couple of thousand of people. What was going through your mind then?
I was still totally blown away by by coming in down through the canal. There was just so many people. It wasn't the fact that there were so many people after such a long time alone. It was the fact that they were here to see me, which is something I still haven't quite got my head around.
Your workstation, yeah? You must have spent a bit of time here.
Yeah, this is the nerve centre. This is where I sit downstairs watching the numbers and wondering whether I'm doing the right thing, agonising at the chart table as every skipper does. It's a fairly old-fashioned layout with a conventional chart table that's actually big enough to get a paper chart on. I've got 2 screens, 2 computers. This, you would think you'd spend a lot of time asleep here. It's actually quite high density closed cell foam, and it's really very, very uncomfortable. So it's quite good for short cat naps, but not really very good for anything else because it's so uncomfortable it wakes you up fairly regularly. Everything's within easy reach. Stove this side, sink the other side, which is now full of flags. Everything's slightly in chaos after we finish, with lots of oil skins and life jackets from the people who came out to welcome me and all the family members and things like that. Got cushions on the low side for the bunk when I managed to get into it, and on the other side, every time we tack the boat, all these boxes of spares get stacked onto the high side, and the same with the boxes through in the back. So it's not just a simple operation to tack the boat. It's a case of moving all the water ballast with the levers that are behind you, and also stacking all the gear. So it's quite a tack's a good 20-minute process to get the boat back up to speed on the opposite tack. I'm the only boat in the fleet with a flushing loo, believe it or not, which you can just see down there in the corner.
Which is very exceptional, yeah?
Yes, yeah, one concession's a luxury, but if you've ever been on these boats, the motion is really, really extreme, and having talked to a lot of the skippers, I think they wish that they weren't wrestling with a bucket. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of them that'll be coming back with something similar in 2012, and I shall certainly have one put in the new boat when we get a new boat built.
Okay. How much time a day do you actually spend on your computers and the routing gear and all that?
You seldom sleep for very long. Most of the time you spend down here watching numbers, waiting for a shift, waiting for an increase in the breeze so you can do a sail change. So the vast majority of your day is spent, or my day is spent, watching numbers in some way or another. With weather from Maxi, Maxi Chopper, which is GFS, American data. It depends on the accuracy of the data as to whether you pay too much attention to the routing advice that you get from the computer, or whether you just watch the barometer, which is here, and look outside and just sort of sail by the seat of your pants, as it were, instead. So yeah, there's a reasonable amount. Sometimes when you've got blogs to write and journalists to respond to, and emails from friends and things like that, even though the friends don't demand a response, sometimes you can spend a reasonable proportion of a day on the computer sending email. You can get, as with all these open boats, you can get all the way through from front to back without coming on deck, but it's easy to get into the lazarette where the autopilots are, down through this hatch here. Basically in here we had a couple of not major but consistent leaks from the ballast tanks. You can see where the boat's flat at the back here. It's not actually the outside of the boat, it's the ends of the ballast tanks, and they leaked from both back corners. So all this lot, every single day in the race, I had to come and take between 5 and 20 buckets of water out of here and tip them out the hatch at the back, or got a stirrup pump here. So I spent a good proportion of the race every single day pumping water out of the boat. And also we've got the two pilot rams there, which are hydraulic pumps driven by electric motors, and then hydraulic rams. and I had two of the motors burn out, so I actually spent quite a lot of time in here working. And you can see round the back of the rudder stocks where you've got to get to take the motors off and disconnect the rams. It's actually pretty cramped, and if it's wet and the boat's heeled over and the other pilot's going, it's pretty pretty unpleasant working. Yes, if you drop something, it rolls away, and all your tools get wet, which is pretty heartbreaking. But yeah, anyway, they kept going, and we got round. That's the main thing. Our next major goal is to be back here in 2012 with a nice new boat, brand new boat, and a fully funded campaign, a properly funded campaign, and time to work the boat up properly and do it justice. Obviously there'll be a series of races between now and then, but the 2012 Vendée Globe is the major goal for us.